Welcome, YouTubers! On this episode, we get to ride the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad.
Yeah, that's awesome. I even got the caboose. Smells so good.
On our trip to Durango, Colorado, we stayed at the United Campgrounds. And one of the highlights of that place is the train runs right through the park at least twice a day. We really got a kick out of taking pictures of the train and waving at its passengers every day. But after a couple of days, we decided it was our turn to ride and wave at everybody else.
Alright, she's recording.
Hello, hi, Seth, Clayton, Dustin, Laura, Nathan, Nate, Kylie, and Lily.
Awesome. Cool.
The railroad arrived in Durango on August 5th, 1881, and by July 1882, the tracks to Silverton were completed.
Hello. How the heck are you?
You're good. You're on a train and it's a rocking and a rolling.
Yeah, it is.
The train was originally constructed to haul silver and gold ore from the San Juan Mountains, but now this vintage steam locomotive is only a tourist and heritage line.
Now it's going.
The Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad is 45 miles of track between Durango and Silverton, Colorado. The railroad crosses the Animas River 5 times throughout this 45-mile trip.
You want to do a quickie right there? There you go.
Durango is one of the few places in the United States which has seen continuous use of steam locomotives. For a round trip to Silverton, a fireman shovels about 6 tons of coal per day.
Stick your head back in the window.
gallons did he say they got?
2,000 gallons?
2,000 gallons.
2,000 gallons.
Holy crikeys. Be nice to have a house right there, huh?
That would be pretty cool.
All year round, this trip offers incredible views of the San Juan National Forest and the Colorado backcountry. But I personally think in the fall with all the leaves changing is the best time. The railroad operates coal-fired steam engines and diesel engines. The steam-powered locomotives were built during the 1920s.
Oh. Are they wanting a ride?
Hitching a ride, hitching a ride.
Tall Timber Resort off the narrow gauge train. Put your camera down for a minute. Look at me.
How narrow is this narrow gauge railroad? Only 3 feet. It was decided that 3 feet would be well suited to the mountainous country, and construction costs would be relatively less expensive.
Are we done?
I think we're both tired.
Ready to take some drugs? It's been fun, but it's time for drugs and a nap.
One of my favorite things about this trip to Colorado was seeing the quaking aspen trees. The aspen tree covers 5 million acres, or 20% of Colorado state. It's given the name quaking aspen because their delicate leaves quiver in the breeze. They are often mistaken for birch trees due to their white-colored trunks. The railroad operates over 50 pieces of rolling stock. Some of the cars are the oldest passenger cars in existence. At top speed of 18 miles an hour, it takes the train 3.5 hours to travel the 45 miles from Durango to Silverton. The historic Strater Hotel was built in 1887. Western author Louis L'Amour stayed many times at the Stratter Hotel. It's said that he always asked for the room directly above the Diamond Bell Saloon, room 222, because he said that the honky-tonk music helped him set the mood for his novels of the Old West. The Durango Depot was built in January 1882 and has been preserved in its original form. This vintage train has been in continuous operation since 1882, and the railway now is a federally designated National Historic Landmark. That's all for GNR's train ride to Durango. If you're ever in Colorado, this should be high on top of your must-do list.